Free agency hasn't even officially started. I'm already getting questionable news from AK. Looks like the Chicago Bulls are going to be offering Coby White a qualifying offer worth up to rumored to be $30 million over 3. How that exactly breaks down year over year may not be, evenly as 10-10-10, but it is a decent offer and a longer term offer in that sense. Now, what does this mean for the Chicago Bulls, and what does it mean? How does this impact the team? Ultimately, is this a good deal? Let's talk about it right now. Listen, if you're new to this channel, this is P Kid from the Windy City Breeze, talking Chicago sports, how Chicago talks. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know why you clicked on the video. Let's get into it, man. Listen, if you've been around for a while, you know that my opinion on Coby White has always been he has great promise, great upside, but right now he's wildly inefficient. And no one can tell me the difference. It's not as if I'm having hate for him. It just is what it is. The numbers say it. The statistics show it. How Billy was forced to kind of put him in and out of the lineup actually proved it. And in so many instances, while some of these things may not be any fault of his own, the situation is the situation. Right now, we have two young guards who everyone seems to be debating with, and one of them, Coby White, has just gotten, a decent offer. Now, ultimately, what is this? Does this help or hurt the team? I think it's a decent offer. It doesn't hurt the team in any way. We were expected to extend a qualifying offer to him anyway. Now, am I impressed, or do I like the commitment? Not necessarily, specifically because even at his age, I know he's young. Again, the efficiency just hasn't been there. And I know a lot of the Chicago fan base has not only rode for Coby, but they've even gone as far as to say he's the future. Now, while I think that he will be a good NBA player, I don't know about him being the future of the Chicago Bulls. That is where a lot of my tough takes come from. Has nothing to do against the player. Has nothing to do against the game. I hope he lives his dream. I hope he makes as much money as he can. Sincerely, I love to see that aspect. But when we start putting labels on people as being the future and ranking them as high as over players who actually have, again, they're living out their dream too. They're putting up in just as much work, but they seem to be better prepared for the situation. That's when I sit there and it's like, all right, I'm call cap. Like we gotta stop doing that, right? And so that's all it is. It's just being objective. And I'll say this: while I do blame some of the regime changes for some of the inefficiencies and things of that nature, I would like to say that I find it a very tough thing to continue the fandom for one player in Coby White, while people dramatically change their stance on Lauri Markkanen just for him to go to another team and show up, show out, and become an all-star, which is, again, one of those things where I sit there and say, sometimes we have to pump our brakes, hold the horses, and allow these players to develop and not give up on some of them just because we think they should be better than what they are, and stop giving making excuses for players who have not shown that level of efficiency, who have not shown that level of growth yet, simply because we like them. That being said, I'll say this again. This was expected. We were expecting the Chicago Bulls to extend them a qualifying offer. They have. The number, again, is not scary. It's still a movable contract. I don't believe he is overvalued. I don't believe he's undervalued. I think he's right there for what the market is dictating for his position and what he could potentially contribute on the court. Now, there is still a lot to be desired in this case. $30 million over 3 is a pretty penny when it comes to thinking about a player who you can't depend on at times. However, those are things that I have seen him improve over the last season. And if that continues, I could think of this as being getting him on the cheap, especially if the upward trajectory continues. And that thing is if. And the reason I say if is because it's all about utilization. With some other moves that the Chicago Bulls are rumored to be making, with them also extending another qualifying offer to Ayo, who I think is the better guard right now, simply and for a variety of reasons. They are roughly the same age. However, Coby does have more professional experience, which should weigh heavier than collegiate experience. The one thing I will say is, there may be some redundancy at the position that does not necessarily give him the opportunity to continue his growth. And that's the one thing I look at. All of these players are better than you and I, who sit here on YouTube and make comments and commentating things of that nature from our fandom and play armchair GM. However, compared to their peers, there could still be a gap in proficiency, a gap in ability. And right now, with a lot of redundancy, meaning there's a lot of people who do the same thing at that position on the Chicago Bulls, meaning Ayo does the same thing as Coby. If you want to sit there and say Coby shoots better, I would say he takes more threes. We can argue for that, but guess what? They all roughly do the same thing as as Zach, who, you know, has been flirted at the point a little bit, plays is our primary ball handler and two guard at times. Like, we don't have a point guard, so at this point we know that they all roughly do the same thing. Is Coby going to get the opportunity to see that level of growth for us to be able to bank on it? That's the question. And this ultimately boils down to two things. Is Billy Donovan going to be able to put people in the right position, use them in the right way so they can be effective and efficient? And it always comes down to that. So that's my take on it. I don't think this is one of those things that we should be shocked by. It's absolutely something we expected. But again, how are these pieces going to be utilized? There's some rumors that even Patrick Beverley is looked at as coming back. Well, we saw what happened when Patrick Beverley was in the lineup. A lot of people got pushed back. Ayo got pushed back. Coby got pushed back. Then we still have Alex Caruso. Again, we have all of those people who 1 through 3, they relatively do the same function, but no one is actually a primary point. So at that point, how is everyone utilized? What happens? Are we banking on a one off season with a shooting coach to drastically change how our team performs? Like, what are we really banking on there? Because even though Coby White takes a lot of threes, and he has been I call him the microwave, like, he has been a spark at times off the bench. He's also been a detriment at times off the bench. But it's not just him. A lot of our players aren't really efficient from three. I mean, our most efficient 3-point shooter is the person that we have to say shoot, Patrick Williams. That's interesting. So again, I'm happy that the young man is getting an opportunity to live his dream. Happy that he got extended a qualifying offer. I hope that this is actually something that helps. I hope he continues his trajectory, but I do have a lot of question marks around it and how he's going to be used so he can continue his progression. But I want to hear what you have to say. Whether it's love, whether it's hate, man, put it in the chat. You know I'm going to be in there with you. I frankly don't care if you got smoke for me or not. I want all the beef when it comes to this, because Coby White seems to be the prized possession of the Chicago Bulls fan base, but everyone seems to want to trade Zach. Make it make sense. Whether it's love, whether it's hate, be in the chat. Till next time.